Isn't it interesting that foundational Black Americans are taking all of these hits from every angle, from every side, because we say we are not Africans and because we added foundational to Black American. Now, people accept us saying, oh, we're Black Americans, we're African Americans. But when we say we're not Africans and we add foundational, that one word foundational has set everyone off. So much anger and vitriol is coming towards foundational Black Americans because we are identifying ourselves. Now, I find it interesting that a man could say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. You have women out there that could say, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. Even a Supreme Court judge, when asked the question, what is a woman? She said everything else other than what a woman is. And people accept that. But the moment foundational Black Americans say we're foundational to this land, that we're indigenous to this land, it sets everyone off. We're not immigrants because we never immigrated to America. Most of us was already here. And the few Africans that did come through the transatlantic slave trade, those descendants now, I believe, are the ones that's claiming Africa diaspora. Those are the ones that are Pan-Africans. I believe that people have that gene within them where they know deep down inside who they are and where they came from. And that is one of the reasons why when certain so-called Black Americans were growing up, these same people that identify as Black American or African American asks these same people, what are you? What do you mix with? Because somewhere within themselves, they know that something is different. So yes, the ADOS and the African diaspora and those that call themselves, African. Those that claim African are the ones that have ancestry. Those are the ones that are descended from Africa. And those that, like me, that say that we are indigenous, my ancestry was already here. I remember when I did my first DNA test back in the 90s, I believe it was. It was saying that I had some of the oldest blood, and it dated back to the Mayans or the Mayans, however you want to pronounce it. We've always known from a child coming up who we were. When I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, we didn't hear nothing about African or Africa. We barely heard about Black, and that was because James Brown came out with a song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. But other than that, we knew who we were. I remember my grandmother. My mom's was Native, right? My father, he's partial, okay? Because there's a lot of, even during my DNA, I have a lot of Mexicans, Native Americans, Hispanics that's in my bloodline. I found no slave records, no links to Africa at all. And the couple of Africans that I did find are people that's married into the family, like half third cousins, half fourth cousins, things like that. But when it comes to my ancestry, oh, I know who I am. And I'm not an African, and I'm not an immigrant. But for some reason, it sets people off. They can't stand to hear it. Everyone else could be whoever they want to be. I recall this woman, she said that she was a cat. She identified as a cat. I met this couple that identified as vampires, even had fangs put inside their mouth, surgically. But when a foundational Black American say that they're foundational to this land, it sets everyone off because the Africans, the immigrants know they can no longer tether on to foundational Black Americans or our accomplishments. Because you hear a lot of these foreigners now, a lot of these immigrants coming here saying that we created R&B, we created jazz, and y'all got that from us, and that's your African ancestry. But even those ancestry tests were created by man. They were labeled by man. So just because an ancestry test say that you are Ghanaian or you are Kenyan or you, doesn't make that you. Does not make that you. Even the so-called Native Americans are immigrants because they migrated from Siberia. They're Mongoloids. And that's a word that we don't really hear too often, Mongoloids. But I remember hearing it growing up. And I also noticed that the Native Americans, when I was growing up, looked like me. Different shades of brown.